62 degrees. Just listen to that. When was the last time you heard me say that on this show? 62 degrees today and sunny. I am not suggesting anyone shirk their responsibilities and duties, but if you were going to, today would be the day to do it. Speaking of responsibilities and duties, I think we have a responsibility in this city and everywhere else to make sure that an election is without fraud. Well, unfortunately, I don't think that's always the case. And, whenever we talk about election fraud, isn't it always the left that's committing that fraud? When does the right commit fraud? They didn't allow people to register to vote. Where's the evidence? But, every time there's fraud, there's fraud. Remember Acorn? Well, Acorn Redux is now neighbor to neighbor. A group that was brought into the city, actually, I'm surprised by Lieutenant Governor Tim Murray when he was mayor. And neighbor to neighbor is a perfect fit with a guy like Mayor Barack O'Brien, an extreme leftist. Extreme leftist. How this guy became mayor, I don't know. But then again, look at the guy we have in the White House right now. Both of them were community organizers. Both of them never really held a real job. Well, I guess we can say the mayor is an EMT. We give him a little credit for that. That's it. And these guys are running the city. And Mayor Barack O'Brien thinks this is some urban paradise. Where we have to put gardens and empty lots in low-income neighborhoods. Where we need more low-income housing. When does the guy talk about the bread and butter issues that really affect the majority of the people in this city? The people who pay the bills and the people who go to work every day. Now, I'm worried about the... And boy, if I say anything against that stuff, I'm a racist, right? Come on. Try a little harder, will you, Barack O'Brien? Well, joining me now is someone who is standing up to Barack O'Brien and really standing up to the left and their tricks. Desiree Awizio. And full disclosure here, folks, Desiree and I are not strangers. We grew up together. I know Desiree when I was a little shaver. And she joins me now on the phone, and I want to say that she's deathly ill, but wanted to call in. Good morning, Desiree.
Hello there, Jim, and I am feeling better.
Good.
I came down with this really nasty bug on Sunday, but I'm coming along pretty well.
Right, and I heard you were knocked for a loop, but you went last night to City Hall to this election commission meeting. Why don't you tell me what brings you to that point? You're involved in a movement about alleged election fraud during the November race. Why don't you tell me about that?
Right, sure. Well, during the 2010 campaign, I was a deputy campaign manager for Marty Lamb for Congress. Mm-hmm. And what we did was naturally try to recruit poll watchers to ensure the integrity of elections. And we were very concerned because of what went on during Scott Brown's election and other elections, what went on in cities like Worcester, Fall River, Boston, Springfield. So,
and what are you alleging went on?
Well, there was outright campaigning in buildings. Mm-hmm. Electioneering was allowed within polling places. Poll watchers communicated with voters and interpreters, helpers. There were people, we know about these groups, neighbor to neighbor, who were escorting people in to the ballot box, had sample ballots, pointing to them, telling them who to vote for. This happened again. So there were a number of issues that we were concerned about. Also, when it came to duplicate registrations on the voter rolls, mm-hmm. we made sure that we got a hold of the 11-megabyte voter list. Every campaign is entitled to a copy. We went to FedEx Kinko's, paid the money to get that all printed out, made sure we had a copy of the voter list. So as the person comes in to say, address and name, we can make sure that they're on the voter list mm-hmm. As they give the name of the poll worker. So we wanted to make sure that there were poll watchers there to help ensure the integrity of elections.
Isn't that a shame that you have to sit there and do that? Isn't it a shame that you have to sit there and do that and watch the polls? So go ahead.
Yeah, so what we did was I recruited in less than a week 200 people from the Lamb campaign volunteer list. We had a lot of people to do sign hold and phone banking. I recruited 200 out of that who gave up their entire day to volunteer to sit there from 6:30 in the morning till 8 o'clock at night and be a poll watcher.
Okay.
So they were trained on what to do, and then we had them all over the precincts in Worcester, Attleboro, Marlboro, and Fall River.
Yep.
So what we did was I was on the phone in the office during the day on election day, getting calls from poll watchers who were reporting all these irregularities to me. What I did was then call the Charlie Baker legal hotline, and he had a similar hotline set up like Scott Brown during the election, and they had roving attorneys in the field who would then go right on scene and see these things firsthand and witness it and stay there and talk to the wardens and call in the city clerk and police and so forth and work to resolve it.
Okay.
So there were a number of things that we found, so much in so many precincts, at least 5 precincts, that we decided, myself and a few other poll watchers, to get together and document on case by case all the things that we saw and include the laws that were broken, the laws that were being violated. We filed a 12-page memo with the Election Commission last November.
In Worcester, right?
Yes, in Worcester, and it was testimony that poll watchers gave, that was notarized. And this was submitted to the Election Commission. We've been to all the meetings, November, they skipped one in December, then January, and here in February. And we've been pushing the Election Commission to give us responses to all these problems. And there was rampant electioneering, radio communications were allowed in the polling places, cell phone use.
Oh, boy.
There were out-of-state licenses were accepted as identification for inactive voters or voters not knowing their address. It was amazing how much went on, and we documented all this. And then we got the commission to write a letter to the Secretary of State's office and to get some responses back from the Secretary of State's office. Then they had another meeting with them that we weren't involved in. They wanted to clarify more practices, what the city was doing. We were able to speak at these meetings and get some feedback, but what they did was mainly repeat the laws. The Secretary of State says he was more or less clarifying what the laws are, yada, 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 but we already know that. I was trying to get responses to actual violations.
To actual violations, right.
These are violations that are on laws on the books right now.
Yep.
These are things that are being done right now. Go to food pantries, get people out, campaign in the building, promise them meals out in the parking lot. It's just...
Okay, so the Election Commission last night decided that they really weren't going to do anything about the individual complaints you had brought forth, but they said, we're going to make sure we tighten up the process.
Yeah, I think we were, when it came to poll workers, there was discussion over being able to now stop someone walking in with an assistance, with someone assisting them, and saying, why do you need that assistance? Are you physically or mentally handicapped in some way? You can stop and challenge that. Where before, they just walk right in with a person who has the neighbor-to-neighbor shirt on, walk right in, they go right into the booth, and they're giving them a sample ballot and telling them who to vote for and pointing to them where to vote and who to vote for. Okay,
now Bill Galvin, the Secretary of State, when you brought forth all of this stuff, he really didn't do anything about it. He punted, right?
Well, yeah, pretty much. When it came back from the Secretary of State, they mainly just wanted to clarify what the city's practices were. They gave us a memo which repeated a lot of the laws.
Yeah.
But we had a few openings, but just a little bit in terms of they're going to enhance the training for poll workers.
Yeah. Now listen, I just want to make a point here while you're doing that. In the city of Worcester, the city clerk does not report to the city council. Who does the city clerk report to?
The mayor?
Exactly. Who was leading the charge last night for neighbor to neighbor?
It was the mayor. And
Exactly. So the man who was leading the charge is the man who the clerk reports to, and the clerk is really the go-to guy in the city of Worcester. Clerk Rushford is the go-to guy in the city of Worcester, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so that's the guy who's reporting to the mayor. And now, let me get you, because I am going to run out of time, Desiree. What did the mayor say last night about your group What accusations, and you can paraphrase, did he make about your group?
He got up there at the beginning and made an opening statement, and he said that there's nothing that he's heard from anyone else, just these few people, and there's a couple of hundred of us making these claims. He said that, the Worcester elections are in great shape.
Yeah.
And then he went on to say that the problem is these people who are filing these claims just don't like the outcome of an election. They don't like it because they lost.
Okay.
And then he said, also, they don't like it because they don't like the way someone else's skin looks or the way someone else talks or the language.
Is that not disgusting?
I was racist. I was infuriated, and I got up there immediately afterwards, and the Telegram Gazette did not quote me.
No, I noticed. I read the article. They did not. Even though I saw a tape of this.
Yeah.
A tape of this was sent to me.
Yes.
In which the mayor says that. And yet they didn't do it in the article.
He's making racist remarks against citizens in Worcester.
Yeah.
People who live in Worcester, raise families in Worcester, who are volunteering their time to help ensure the integrity of elections.
Right, but you dropped Desiree.
Making these kind of claims, it's outrageous. It's appalling. It's unfit.
You drop the race card. Just drop the race card when you don't have an argument. Drop the race card. Just do that. That's what the mayor did. The mayor, as far as I'm concerned, Desiree, these aren't your words, they're mine. He's a race pimp. He is definitely a race pimp.
I got up there and I said I summarily resent and reject the mayor's making this partisan political claim and making these racist remarks against citizens who are volunteering their time to help ensure elections.
He doesn't care.
He's saying it's because of an outcome. A lot of elections are lost in this state. This is a lot of effort by people who care about voting integrity.
He doesn't care. He's a lefty with an agenda. He's a lefty with an agenda. He is going to drive this city into the ground. He doesn't give a hoot about the average person in this city. He wants his left-wing agenda. If he wanted that, go do something else. But don't run for mayor for the city of Worcester. And I don't like the idea that the city clerk reports to the mayor, and then the mayor is at the head of this argument. The mayor injects himself into this stuff all the time. That doesn't represent the majority of people in the city.
Right. And he also had a very high-level position in Congressman McGovern's campaign.
Of course he did.
Marching orders from McGovern, too. It's all,
please.
All orchestrated. This was entirely orchestrated last night.
If McGovern stopped short, we'd have to get the mayor removed from his large intestine. Come on. Please. All right. Desiree, I've got to move on. But I appreciate you making that point, and I will continue to make that point here. And you know what? I have nothing against Clerk Rushford, but you know what? I don't like it. It stinks. It smells as far as I'm concerned. The clerk should report to the city manager, period. Then we'll take all the politics out of it. Mm-hmm. Seriously. That's it. Desiree Awizio, thank you so much for your time. I hope you feel better.
Thanks. I'm coming along, and I appreciate the chance to get on. It was quite a scene last night, and we were extraordinarily disappointed. It was infuriating that he would get up there and make these kind of remarks.
No, he can.
We're there representing hundreds of poll watchers who are volunteering their time.
Yeah,
these are all good citizens.
No, they're not, Desiree. They're racists. They're racist, Desiree. Because you don't agree with what he wants, you're racist.
That's it.
Yeah. You know what he is. I'm not going to say it on the air. I want to keep my FCC license.
I appreciate it, Jim. Thanks for everything.
Anytime, Desiree. Desiree Awizio, folks. Stick around. I'm Jim Polito. I'm going to get even madder after 8 o'clock because we're going to talk about sexual predators. But there's someone here who's going to make me feel better because they're doing something about it in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Yeah, we got the governor saying, hey, let's allow people with dresses on to go into the ladies' room. But, we don't want to put sexual predators away for a long time. Does that balance out to you? Does that make any sense? No, it doesn't to me anyway. Hey, on the lighter side, it's going to be 62 degrees today. Yahoo. Stick around. I'm Jim Polito on WTAG.